What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in this video today, we have the full breakdown of the brand new KIZUNA clash against Magellan and Hannibal. And in this video today, we'll also talk about the unit itself, discuss his abilities. We have already discussed it previously in other videos, but we'll also discuss it today just in case you guys want to know what this guy is all about. Remember that in order to actually get this guy, you have to play the KIZUNA, you have to get the tickets, and you get the copy himself from the KIZUNA exchange. You don't actually need specific limit break materials. This guy actually uses generic limit break materials in order to get his limit break to max, which is good, and he does come at max special levels. So if you are new to the game and you don't get enough copies to, rainbow the character out, it doesn't really matter that much, as you'll only, just need one character and regular limit break in order to make him completely usable, which I think is a really good change, enabling newer players to, get more into the game and have these units more accessible to you. So if you actually check out the treasure exchange, you can see that each box you actually do get a certain amount of copies of Magellan and Hannibal, and I would advise to not go to the next box unless if you have all of the copies of Magellan and Hannibal. This is the only way that you'll be able to rainbow the character out. Very important that you do that. Also, you do need the copies to get him to level limit break as well, so you need like 9 copies total to get the max level limit break. And then of course, when you reach box 7, there are no more copies, so if you didn't get all the copies prior to, you're in a little bit of a pickle there. But, there's nothing really too amazing here. There's 5 of each of the tablets with 1,000 items in each box. Nothing really too game-changing. Let's actually talk about the unit, though. The Magellan and Hannibal character. So Magellan and Hannibal it's kind of weird they're doing another Hannibal unit. Very, very exciting. But this unit is Int Driven Striker, Captain ability, giving those two classes 3.75 attack, 1.2 health, making their quick and int slots beneficial. Like, nothing too game-changing. For a free-to-play captain, it's acceptable. And then the special ability on a 13-turn cooldown reduces defense up by 5, and also reduces 1 turn of barrier, and then applies a toxic effect to the enemy. But then he says that if your captain ends up being a driven or a striker character, he then also removes 5 turns of attack down and then gives you a conditional boost against characters inflicted with Toxic. So a self-proccing Toxic unit that also gets rid of defense up and attack down, barrier, and I guess in a way also gets around resilience as well if you can inflict them with the Toxic effect. In terms of a free-to-play unit, he's actually pretty decent, and I assume he's going to be useful in a lot of upcoming content as well. Anytime you can inflict the opponent with a Toxic effect, this is a very solid option to bring because you can get a self-proccing conditional and very, very good utility. Even if you're not using him for the conditional boost, the utility in and of itself of 5 turns of defense up and attack down removal, removing barriers, he's a pretty solid unit overall. Unfortunately, he's terrible in Pirate Rumble. We're not going to go through that in this video right now. But still, generically, a pretty good free-to-play unit. So let's go ahead now and jump into the video and go through each of the stages with free-to-play and my own personal teams, going up against the KIZUNA versus Magellan and Hannibal. Jumping into the teams, first of all, we have the free-to-play squads, and of course, there's going to be the timestamps down below in the description, and also on the timeline of the video. So, first of which, we have the versus strength fight, and here we have Law as the friend captain here. Law is the most ideal captain to use for this fight, for a couple of different reasons. Obviously, because he boosts the 2 classes of characters that actually receive the cooldown here. They're really wanting you to use this character for this quest. His special ability is fantastic, providing you with huge damage potential, and also because his captain ability has a really unique ability to resist 10 turns of paralysis, and when you reach battle 3 you actually are inflicted with 5 turns of paralysis, and post level 30 it's actually an additional 1 turn of paralysis, being 6 total. So having Law as one of the available captains makes that particular quest much easier to deal with. But of course, we are running a free-to-play team, so we have just regular free-to-play characters. We are using that Shambles Nami character who actually gets rid of Special Bind and also gives us a matching slots, making stage 2 a lot easier to deal with. And then we've got an attack boost and color affinity via Luffy and Ace. We have also chain boost via Jinbei. We have the matching slots via the Perospero. We also have a chain tap thing that Law does with his special, and Law also provides an orb boosting effect, as well as his superclass effect, which provides a 2.25 times conditional boost. So in terms of free to play, this is an incredible team. It does a lot of damage. So, as long as you have you know, more summonable characters that have higher multipliers for their abilities, yeah, this team is going to be pretty exceptional and last a pretty long time throughout this adventure here. However, of course, you may want to opt to use Buggy as the friend captain, the Buggy and Galdino, if you want to get a couple of extra tickets in the Kizuna. Moving on now to Battle 2, which is going to be the second variation versus Sai, and of course we are using the Super Tandem Kid as the friend captain this time around, because Cerebral and Driven characters are the two units that get the special cooldown here. So we are running just a mono-driven team, and because we are running 6 characters that are driven, we can actually use the free-to-play Killer, who will enable the Super Tandem and the super class of Kid, which is a really good option because not only does it do that, but also Killer Special is great. It gives a 2.25 times color affinity boost to your driven characters, but you do need a full team of driven for that to activate, so it works perfectly here. We're using KIZUNA Kid as our captain because he's a 3.75 times captain, so pretty decent for free to play, and his special ability provides end of turn damage, which enables us to get around the resilience on the final boss stage versus Magellan and Hannibal. We also have the brand new treasure map Moria, who can be a base attack boost and a chain boosting effect, and then we also have the Okiku, because after level 30 there's going to be given 5 turns of bind, or 8 turns of bind? Yeah, it's 8 turns of bind, so it becomes 5 turns with sockets post level 30 to your top and bottom row. So by having Okiku in the middle, not only does Okiku get rid of the bind, but also Okiku's an orb booster. So we have orb boost, we have an attack boost with Kid, we have color affinity with Killer, we have a chain boost and base attack boost with Moria, and then Katarina Devon is just a filler unit that can literally be anything. But Katarina Devon is a boosted unit in this quest, which means that we get a little bit more damage output in this fight. And then we go to the last free-to-play team of the video, which is the Versus Dex fight, and we are using Kaido as a friend captain this time around. And this team is a little wonky, and honestly, I think that Cracker in this team probably can be switched out. Now, the main reason why Cracker is here, because he with his special ability with double special, we're able to remove the Rainbow Shield on Battle 2. However, you guys will see that the damage is extremely tight, and I would probably suggest replacing Cracker with a better Rainbow Shield remover. Something that removes 5 turns of Rainbow Shield and also gives you some type of buff would be more ideal in this scenario here. But luckily, we actually did have a full board of matching slots, and it was just enough to get the dub. But realistically, you know, Battle 2 is very, very tricky. It was only just enough damage to get through. But once you reach the final boss stage, we have a lot going for us. Kaido is so good because he has all of the damage potential. Increased damage taken to the enemy is so good. We have Queen, which can get rid of block slots. We have Monster Chopper, which is a bit of a weird one, but we have the support of Opera attached to him. And it means that when we use the special of Chopper, it gives us an attack boost when it launches, but it also activates the Opera support, removing some despair, because post level 30 we get given 9 turns of despair, so it becomes 6 turns after sockets. So we remove 2 turns via the Opera support. We also remove 5 turns with the Krieg and the Krieg Pirate special, so that's awesome. And we've also got the Jack, which gets rid of attack down post level 30 and also gives a color affinity boost. So it does get around everything. You do have to be very, very careful though, because there is actually a death hit. So once you actually get into 0, you take 80,000 damage. So we also have a special, I believe it is actually Krieg, who gets rid of, who actually provides a damage reduction effect, so we can actually tank the hit against Magellan and Hannibal. So now we get to talk about my own teams that I was building for this event, and I actually have made some very slight changes, which I will discuss at the start of each of these clips here. So the main change that I've made here is that I am no longer using the Hancock, Nami, and Robin. Instead, I'm using Sanji and Pudding, which you may think, why would I use that? It's actually a less affinity boost. But the main reason why I am doing that is because I am switching the friend captain. Instead of using double Law, I'm going to be using Buggy instead. The Buggy and Galdino character, which gives you additional tickets. So by doing that, it means that character receives color affinity from Sanji Pudding's special ability. Now, Luffy on this team can also be replaced if I am using a Buggy friend captain. You just want to replace it with some other blue unit that's also a cerebral unit that gets boosted. And that is ideally what we want to do here. We have Vivi and Rebecca, the V2 Vivi Rebecca, for their switch effect and their special for Battle 2, because we can save Beppo for the final stage. But realistically, you can use one Beppo stage 2, one Beppo stage 3. That also does kind of get around it, because you don't really need, much else to actually kill that stage. Just one Beppo with a full board of slots should be enough to just kill that stage by itself, because these captain abilities are exceptionally strong. And of course, with all of the specials activated, we get a pretty substantial amount of damage. And, if you do use Buggy as the friend, you get a lot of additional tickets as well. The second variation against the Psy fight, this team actually has no changes to the team whatsoever, and this team actually also facilitates using a Buggy and Galdino friend captain with no changes whatsoever. And because Buggy and Galdino are both cerebral and a driven captain, you can use it for the Law team, you can use it for the Kid team, works amazingly. And by doing that, it means we get additional tickets too, so it's completely worthwhile. Now, in terms of the characters here, we've got Killer, which gives color affinity. We have Blackbeard, who's very good. He gets rid of the bind after level 30 and also gives us a chain boundary effect, because there will also be that effect of an attack down based on your chain multiplier, and Blackbeard just simply deals with it. Also, Kid special helps a lot too, because it does provide that tap timing chain based effect, which is incredibly good, that stacks with other chain boosting effects. We also have Jesus Burgess, who is just a completely filler unit. He's a boosted unit that is int and driven, so he just works pretty well. And then the Perospero on this team is also here because he actually removes all of the resilience. He removes 6 turns of resilience, which is what we're going to have to deal with post level 30. So all these characters are kind of required. I mean, Jesus Burgess is replaceable. Killer is somewhat replaceable, but very good to enable the super type and the super class, should I say, super tandem as well. But yeah, Perospero, you can replace him with just a damage dealer, end of turn damage dealer. That will also work. But overall, a pretty fun team, gets the job done pretty easily. And then we also have the support of the Shiryu, of course, which gets rid of poison on the last stage, which changes the poison slots into matching, which enables us to use Kid special to change them into tandem slots so we can activate the super tandem. It all works very, very well. And then we get to the last team of the video, which is going to be my versus Dex team with double Kaido, and I have also made some changes here. Now, the main changes here is I have switched out the X Drake for Rare Recruit Strength Jozu. The reason for that is because we don't really have an additional way to get rid of additional despair, and the good thing about Jozu is that he does provide damage reduction. So realistically, you don't have to have a damage reduction effect here, because the waifus have a special that provide insane healing, and it does overheal as well, which should give you enough HP to tank the death hit of the enemy. If you have damage reduction sockets only, you should only take 72,000 HP, and if you have the remaining HP plus the healing of the waifus, you should tank it. So at the end of the day, you could probably just replace the X-Drake with some other Despair remover that's going to be important post level 30, because the Despair is 8 turns, and that actually becomes 9 turns, which means you do need at least one more turn of Despair removal. So X-Drake, while he does provide the chain boundary and gives you a lot of additional damage, you probably just need another Despair remover in some capacity, but outside of that, this is a pretty comfortable team, insane amounts of damage, and also we can get access to the Super Tandem. I believe I might screw it up in this video in terms of the Super Tandem and all that being activated, but despite all that, it's amazing, and definitely what I'll be using for now. However, I will think about changing it to just become a strength-driven or a strength cerebral team so that I can actually use a buggy friend captain. So I'll have to think about that one, but as for now, that is going to wrap it up. So thank you very much for watching the video today, and if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.